What's up, Virgo? I'm Chris. Welcome to the house. Now, guys, if you like this video, please be sure to subscribe, like, share with all your buddies, all that good stuff. In the description below, you can find the link to my website where you can book private readings, donate to the channel, as well as find a link to my brand new House of Light and Shadow Instagram page. Go ahead and follow me there as well. All right, now Virgo, this September, we're in your season. Happy birthday, you guys. I'm so elated by the Virgo energy that's coming right now, right? Like, Leo season was so intense. The summer's been so intense. Like, Chris from a year ago would have been like, yeah, woo, Leo season party. I don't speak like that, but you get the idea. Now it's just like, you know when you're in a club and you look around and everyone looks like mad young and you're like, what am I doing here? Like, let's just go to the taco truck, get some carne asada fries, and go the fuck home. That's kind of what I'm feeling right now, right? Like energy is chilling. And Virgo, you guys are the mutable sign. You're the sign that carries us from the summer into the fall. You're the one that collects all the pieces through eclipse season, through all these retrogrades. Now we have Mars in your sign, getting us to work. We have Venus in your sign, making us really practical about our love lives. We have the sun entering Virgo tomorrow. Can I tell you how excited I am to just... like, the glow up is coming, the chiller vibes are coming. Virgo, it feels like the whole universe is just like wrapping its arms around you in this great warm little embrace. It's time to celebrate yourselves, Virgo. It's time to, like, you know what it feels like? It's like, you know when, like, you guys are telling people what to do and nobody listens, and now the universe is making everybody listen and saying, do this, do that, do the right thing, polish yourself, glow up, do all those things, Virgo. Central situation, we have the last quarter moon here. I mean, it's almost a full moon. I don't remember the exact moon phase, but guys, what this is saying is that there's a sense of fulfillment here. There's a sense of satisfaction that's coming into Virgo's lives. It doesn't mean that everything is perfect, doesn't mean that there isn't work to be done still, but with the moon like this, it's saying like there's satisfaction. I feel like you guys, this is what I'm saying, you're feeling more love or feeling more connection, or you're feeling more like the payoff of what you've been doing. Virgo, right now you guys are sort of like capitalizing and collecting all the good things that you've been doing for yourself, all the hard work that you've been doing. With this card also, Virgo, I just feel a sense of fullness. I feel a sense of, you know, even if you're not like, you know, I always get worried about saying good things in these readings because some people are like, nah, I'm angry, nah, you're wrong. but seriously, like, there feels like there's a sense of satisfaction, which makes sense for your birthday month, right? You're surrounded by people you love. You're surrounded by things you love. You're celebrating yourself, and more than anything, like any birthday, right? You're kind of reflecting on how far you've come. So no matter if you're in the perfect place where you are, where you want to be rather, like Virgo, you're looking at your life right now and sort of seeing like how much growth has happened, right? How much fulfillment has happened, how much love and affection and friendships and all these things you've been filling your life with. But there's also a sense of leveling up here, right? Like Virgo, you're on the verge here of moving on to the next level in your life. And I think that's why we're sort of collecting everything. And that's why we're sort of reflecting right now, right? Because you're coming to a phase where like who you were and who you used to be is very obviously not who you are anymore. Right? Obviously everybody changes, obviously we grow, obviously life evolves, but you guys are like really feeling it. You're able to see, like, you know, I said Chris from a year ago, like you guys are seeing like Virgo from a year ago, what you guys are so much better. In your ideals, Virgo, we have the Page of Swords in reverse. So I think that you're really just not trying to do much right now. I think that you're like, with the Page of Swords coming up like this, it's telling me that there's a sense of just wanting to chill, right? Of course you guys like to work, of course you guys like to do things, right? But it's like, now is not the time, I think, Virgo, to really have to like talk a lot, right? Now is not the time for you to have to express yourself. I think what this is saying is that you guys just sort of want to be cared for right now, right? You don't want to have to ask for things. You don't want to have to say, this is what I want. You sort of want the people around you to just know what's right for you. You want the people around you to be able to take care of you in the ways that you need. Like, sort of a little bit asking people to be a mind reader, but not in a way that I think is totally destructive. in a way where, you know, Virgo just wants to be cared for now. You guys care for other people, you take care of other things. Now it just feels like you sort of want to be taken care of. You don't want to have to talk a lot. You don't want to have to make yourself clear. You don't want to have to tell people what to do. You don't feel like doing any of that right now. Sort of want to keep to yourself a little bit. Sort of want to just like pull your energy back and not have to. This is why I said not starting new things. Like I think that there is with the Page of Swords always, whether upright or reverse, a sense of new things popping, right? But Virgo, with this card like this, I just feel like you kind of just want to pull back, right? You kind of want to just live your life. You don't want to deal with drama. You don't want to deal with messiness. You don't want to deal with pettiness. You don't want to deal with any of that shit. The Page of Swords could be mad petty. The Page of Swords could be like someone who's a little messy, right? And I think you guys are just not in the mood for that right now. Like messy friends, like messy relationships, like messy dynamics at work. Like you guys are just not in that space. Because the glow up, right? You guys are moving on up. Moving on up, and it's like you're outgrowing things that were childish, right? You're outgrowing like this part of you that did childish things. Like no matter what age you are right now, it feels like there's just a desire to be like not necessarily mature, but sort of like better, right? To sort of grow up in whatever way it is that you need to grow up, like take your career to the next level, like stop being messy at the bars or something, right? Like there's a sense of just being done with messiness, being done with pettiness, being done with childishness. We have here now the Queen of Pentacles. This to me is the very Virgo card, right? It almost kind of very looks like the Virgin. With her little boobie out, with her just holding herself with that rose in her hand, right? She's cultivating. She's cultivating like the material abundance in her life. So I do think what this is saying, guys, is that money is going to be good. Your finances are going to be good. Your career is sort of moving in a good direction, right? But this is also about finding love and finding love of self. And this is why I think again, there's like this nonsense here that the Page of Swords brings, that nonsense. Like, you're too big for that now. You're too grown. You're too, like, you got too much to look forward to. You got too much to be excited about. Right? Some of you guys may be, like, in love. I always feel that with the Queen of Pentacles. But it's also just a desire to, like what I feel here when I look at this card is, like, you are receiving love. You felt loved, and now it's maybe even made you change the way you see yourself. You know, the way that you see yourself through the people who care about you, and you can kind of see like a best version of yourself. And I think that's what's been happening, Virgo. You've been sort of seeing reflected back to you in your relationships, in like the abundance of your finances, in your career. You've been seeing like yourself as your best self. You're knowing that you're growing. You're knowing that ain't nobody got time for that no more. Like, this is a card of self-worth. This is a card of love. Love of self and love of others and love of your life. Love of, like, when you look around you and you see what you've created and you see what you've cultivated. Like, being like, damn, I did that. Virgo, now we're moving on to the Ten of Swords in reverse. So I think this is saying like there were things that were feeling dark and were feeling dismal, and with this card it's like you're not there anymore, right? Something that was weighing on you, something like that like was burdening you, something that was maybe making you feel less than. We're now feeling that is like being released. The Ten of Swords in reverse always feels to me like a card of release of pain, of release of discomfort, of release of, more than anything, what I feel like this is, guys, is I feel like you guys are just not trashing yourselves right now. I feel like in other decks, I like this card coming up in reverse with other decks because like it shows someone with swords in their back, and when you flip it upside down, it's like the swords are sort of falling out. And I feel that energy here with this card. It's like with the Ten of Swords, you're just refusing to belittle yourself. You're refusing to see yourself as less than. I think you guys have made a lot of efforts to cut off negative self-talk. right? People say Virgos are critical because they're most critical of self, and I think that you guys are being less critical of self. I think that there's a lightness sort of that's been coming into your energy field. A sort of insistence on happiness, a sort of insistence on liking yourself and liking your life and seeing things positively now, right? Again, doesn't mean that everything is perfect, doesn't mean that there's nothing wrong, but it just means like you're not going to dwell in negativity. Negativity. This sounds fun to say, like when you over-enunciate it. Negativity. I can't. Now, guys, in the more recent past, we have the Knight of Swords in reverse. So this is what I'm saying, guys. You see, with these swords, all of these swords, look at this. This is beautiful. All of these swords in reverse. There's no more conflict. There's no more anger. Right? We're letting go of it. It doesn't mean that you don't feel that way, but again, guys, it's like one of my friends told me once, like at one point after when you've been sad enough or you've been through a lot of shit, you learn to control your thoughts, right? You learn to like not let yourself go there. The Knight of Swords is a card that just goes there. He doesn't give a fuck, right? He doesn't care who's in his way. He doesn't care who he knocks over. He doesn't care about anything. And now it's like you're a little gentler. A little gentler with the people in your life. A little gentler more so with yourself. Right? Being more judicious. Being more discerning. Thinking before you speak. Right? Being less petty maybe. Right? Because like there's such things that you value now. Again, no space for negativity. And I think, Virgo, what I also feel here is like less of a spiral, less of a lashing out kind of feeling, right? So I don't know if you guys have been like a little angry and wanting to lash out at things. Maybe you've been feeling like you want to like speak out against things or you know, let people feel how you feel. And now this card is saying we're not in that energy. We're not dealing with those low rent vibes anymore, right? Low rent. You're not going down there. Our turning point, Virgo, is the High Priestess in reverse. So I think what's been happening is that all of this like negativity, this conflict that you might have been experiencing has kind of put you in a place where you feel disconnected from yourself. Where you almost feel like, I don't know who I am in the same way I used to. And a refusal to sort of like embody that, right? A refusal to say like, I'm going to be stuck in that. With the High Priestess in reverse in our turning point, it's telling us that we are now wanting to be more connected. We are more wanting to be in tune with who we are, with our most loving self. You know, like I feel like that with Gemini energy, like we're sister signs, both ruled by Mercury, and sometimes like there's an inherent lightness to Gemini spirit in the way that with Virgo spirit there's an inherent like loving quality, right? But then when things are bad, when there's conflict, when there's strife, right? It kind of makes you like feel not so good. All the cards just fell. And it kind of makes you like feel less like, I'm supposed to be a loving person. I'm supposed to be a person who cares about people. I'm supposed to be a person who goes through life and sees the beauty in everything. And now you want that again. You want that joyful spirit again. You want that lighthearted, loving spirit again. And I think in September, guys, you start to feel that again. You start to trust yourself again. You start to trust your own judgment in a new way, right? There might have been experiences, Virgo, where you thought that you knew what you were doing and you thought that you were on point and you thought that like you had everything together. And then suddenly lately the feelings of things not being together had put you in a loop. Thrown you for a loop rather. Right? Made you question yourself. Made you question your life and everything you've been doing. And now again we're reconnecting to the part of you that is just pure. The part of you that is just loving. The part of you that just cares. The part of you that just like wants the best, right? We're consciously right? Because also this card is a card of the unconscious, and we're also not being unconscious. We're consciously choosing something different. We're consciously choosing a different way of being. That's the Venus and Virgo energy, that we're like being more meticulous about how we live our lives. We're being more precise and more exact and more, discerning and not just like letting things happen, but actually bringing a level of practicality and good sense, right? Virgo, going into the future, we have the Four of Swords in reverse. So I think that there's things that you've been waiting for. I'm just making sure all the cards are in reverse. Sometimes I pick up the deck and it's in reverse. But what I see also in all these reversals, guys, is like a sort of no, right? Like a sort of protection of yourself, a protection of your self-esteem. You know, I remember when I was in like a really dark place, and I got to a point where I was just like thinking about suicidal ideation and like just beating myself up. And then one day you get to this point where you're like, I'm not gonna do that anymore. I'm not going to put myself in that state of mind. I'm not going to make myself feel bad almost on purpose. I'm not going to beat myself up anymore. And that's what these reversals are to me. It's sort of like you putting your hand up, you having boundaries and saying, I'm not, even boundaries with yourself, right? But let's not talk about other people making you feel bad. Let's talk about like the ways you've been doing it to yourself, right? And now in September, we're sort of saying no. Self. Now we're not doing that anymore. We're not about that anymore, right? Four of Swords, guys, something that you've been waiting for a long time, the wait is going to be over, right? So if there's like something in September that you've been like waiting to hear about or something like that, I think that this month you start to get news and things start to move forward. But also what I think this, guys, is coming out of a place of complacency. Exactly what we've been saying here. The Four of Swords is a card of rest and meditation and timing and taking our time. And I feel like there is like some good news coming. If you've been waiting for news, there's been good news coming. There's good news coming, rather. But here, Virgo, this is also a deliberate desire to not be checked out. Right? To be more engaged in your life, to be more engaged in your career and your love life and your relationships, and to just be like, I don't know, Virgo, it feels to me like you might have just felt checked out for a while. You might have just like been I can't deal, I can't even think, like your mind has been like a whirlwind. And you know, we just recently, Mercury came out of its shadow, its retrograde shadow. So this could have a lot to do with why this storm in your brain is maybe now calming down. Ace of Swords in reverse. So I also feel like, guys, I'll say what I said with the Page of Swords in the beginning. This isn't like, I don't feel like this is an ideal time to start new things, right? To start new projects. But they also, again, what I've noticed here, besides the High Priestess, every card in reverse is a swords. Every single card that's in reverse are swords. This reading is full of swords, meaning that our thoughts have been troublesome. We've been in conflict. With the Ace of Swords coming up in reverse going forward, guys, in September, I think that, again, this is that feeling of not wanting to think, but I also feel like I'm trying to think of how I want to say this, because it feels to me very strongly with the Ace of Swords here in reverse that there's like, it feels troublesome, right? And I don't want to be all doom and gloom here, but I do think that as much as I feel like there is potential for good news to come in, I also feel like there might be something that doesn't quite go your way this month. Anything that you're starting that's new, Virgo. And this is why I was saying from the beginning with the Page of Swords, I don't think this is a month for new things to be, let's say, fulfilling, right? Anything new you start in September, I think, is going to be a little tumultuous. It's going to be, let's not say tumultuous, but let's just say it's not going to be satisfying, right? So if you're starting a new job or moving to a new place or something like that, I think that in September you're going to feel a little bit dissatisfied. It's not going to live up to what you had anticipated or what you had expected. But the thing here, Virgo, with the astrological energy this month also is to be focused on practicality. To put your head down, and if you find yourself in a position where you're dissatisfied with the way something's going, being really discerning, because with the Ace of Swords we say cut it off. Cut it, right? If it's not working, cut it. So at the same time that, like, I think that new endeavors might be troublesome, I think that it's also time to say, like, just cut it. Cut it out, right? If you're starting a new relationship, it might not go too well. If you're starting a new job, you might not be super happy about it. But the thing is that I think because we were here, right? We were here in this energy where maybe you jumped into things. Where maybe you looked, went before you looked, leapt before you looked, leapt before you looked. Sorry, got a little disbarred by, thrown off by this because it kind of made me feel a certain way. It kind of made me feel like with all this positive energy or moving out of negativity, like that there's still sort of a false start. And again, Virgo, to look in perspective of everything, if this is what happens to you in September, think about, was this something that I moved into too quickly? Was this something I kind of jumped into without thinking too much about it, right? Was this something that I sort of moved too fast on? Was this something I didn't totally think through? Because I think in September there's going to be something where you have to sort of consider maybe this new job wasn't for me. Maybe this new apartment isn't going to work out. Maybe I thought that this relationship was going to be cute and whatnot, and now it's just like, I realized after hanging out with the guy for a little bit that I don't like him. Here now we have Justice in reverse. So guys, tons of reversals here. With Justice in reverse rounding out the reading, I think that, again, it's going to sort of feel as we go through the month that there's still work to be done. There might be some things that happen to you, Virgo, that feel a little unfair this month, right? With Justice in reverse and looking at all these reversals, I do feel like in September, especially going into Libra season at the end of the month, right? There's going to have to be a sort of balancing act from within. There's going to have to sort of be like a course correction. I think, again, to say anything that starts in September that doesn't work out, I think it's because, like Justice is saying, it was not meant for you. It was not meant to be. It was not for you. Right? So anything in September, Virgo, that doesn't work out too well, keep in mind that it's because it's not right for you. It's not a right fit is what I'm feeling, right? It wasn't the right way to go. Whatever disappoints you in September, just understand it was not the right way for you to go. Bottom of the deck, we have the Hierophant. So this is what I've been saying about you guys being on the glow up, right? The Hierophant tells us that we're moving. We're sort of like have our head down. We have our heads in the books. We're studying. We're working hard. We're hustling. And so this is all because you guys are moving up. But I think as you move up, there are some growing pains, and there's some lessons that you're going to experience in September that are going to kind of tell you that you need to course correct. Right? Because I think that there were some maybe decisions that were made maybe in August or July that in September you're going to realize were not the right decisions for you. Relationships, jobs, things like that. This is what I feel most maybe even like you reconnected with the person who you're going to realize is like petty and you don't want to be around them anymore. Alright, so let's pull one last outcome card and then we'll go ahead and look at the oracle for one last bit of advice. But Virgo, don't feel disheartened if you do. I think that this is just saying that there's work to do, right? There's still work to do. In your season is where we do the work. Your season is where, it's like if you harvest a bunch of grains and vegetables and stuff, and you find that in those harvests there's some rotten, right? And I think that's the energy here, is like some of the things you're going to be cultivating in September are going to be rotten, and they're not going to be something you can depend on for food. You know what I mean? Outcome for the month, Virgo, is the Eight of Swords. So much swords energy, so much, like even with the Justice, she has this sword here. So with the Eight of Swords coming out as our outcome, I think, guys, it's time to pull back. It's time to sort of reflect, right? Normally this is a card of limiting thoughts, but this card right now makes me feel like you have to think now. You have to plan. This is a card that says, not like, to me right now, like, don't move forward. Don't rush into things. Like, sit down and take your time and make a plan, right? Think carefully, because in September you're changing. In September things are happening that are going to push you forward in certain ways, but also make you realize that you were not meant to go in that direction. The Eight of Swords says, don't go in stupid ass directions. Sorry, try not to cuss as much, but like, don't do dumb shit this month. Don't make hasty decisions. Think, plan, be strategic, be methodical. Like, be methodical, be logical, be practical. Your mind is not your worst enemy anymore. Now you can rely on it. Now you can trust it. Now you can know that what you come up with is for your best. Alright, so we have the card Destiny here. So guys, what this is saying is that exactly what we were saying with Justice, right? Way to round up the reading. This month is a month where you calibrate with your destiny. With where you adjust and you align with what's meant to be. With where you're meant to be, with who you're meant to be with, right? But with me, with that red energy there, it feels like there's some like heat. There's some things that are not going to feel totally pleasant, but that you have to work through. Right? Virgo, this is also, again, like, we're not getting discouraged, right? You were in a place where now you're finding worth and love and satisfaction, and things are getting better. Things are getting better, and now it's just time to focus on what is true to you. What is true to you, Virgo, this month, right? This is what this month is saying. How do we reconnect to what's true for us? How do we stand in our truth of who we are, of what we're about? Not to say that there are some things that you put into motion that you might be a little dissatisfied with, but it's okay, because we're just recalibrating, right? And by September, when we get into Libra season, we start to feel things balance out. We start to get the things that we needed. We start to feel a little less need to work and hustle, and now we start to get to bask in what we've created, and like the it's almost like trimming the fat this month, right? That's all it is. You might bring all these bundle of stuff that you've cultivated and realize that there's some things there that don't belong, and that's it. You just have to go back and collect more. That's it. All right, Virgo, you guys are gonna have a great month. It's happy fucking birthday. I'm so excited for the changes that are happening for you guys. I think that if you just stay calm and trust yourself and what's true for you, everything is going to be really good. September is just a month where we're collecting ourselves, like I said in the beginning, right? We're collecting ourselves after this crazy summer, and then like as we go into October, now we like have things in place. We have plans. We have things that we know that we need to do, and things start to get smoother. All right, Virgo, I love you so much. You have a great month. I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.